And today, President Trump is considering invoking an 18th century law to speed up his plan of mass deportations. Sources say the president is talking about utilizing the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, and that would give him the expanded authority to target and remove undocumented immigrants. Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes joins us now to talk about it. First off, Khalif, walk us through the powers that would be granted on this more than 200-year-old act.
It would authorize the president and any authority that he's given them authorization to as well, any other agency, to remove folks. And it kind of circumvents, and I should say kind of, it actually does circumvent the normal process for deportation, which a person has, due process. They go in front of a hearing. They'd have an opportunity to be heard. They'd have to prove their case if they're running from some type of persecution. Well, that removes all that. You work all the way around it, and they can just remove them instantly because they're at war. So looking at what the letter of the law says, a lot of time we talk about these things, Brian, you're always asking, well, is it legal? My answer is this is a mixed bag. Yes, the president has authority to do this. I think if you're going back to 17 anything, I think it's a bit of a stretch. There's probably some other laws that we can pull and find ways to do that. And this is something that if you were watching, the president isn't hiding it. He talked about this in inauguration. He said on Inauguration Day on January 20th that he would actually use this, and they've been doing the things to put it in place for him to actually use it. But the key word, the thing that has to be important, is that someone has to have invaded or we have to be at war. And neither of those things are happening. I think the president and the administration is attempting to make the case that there is an invasion based on drugs, based on the cartel activity. But in a traditional war, what this has been used for in the past, like when we were fighting Germany, when we were fighting Japan, places like that, when the instances that have been used, there have actually been wars that have been fought.
Yeah, when the law was written way back when, there was a different application for it as opposed to but they're talking about targeting the gangs and other criminal types of things that are happening today.
He hit on that as well. So if day one was the inauguration, day two was him making the conversation that these gangs that are bringing drugs into the country, that are bringing other folks into the country, that they are at war, that they are invading the country, i.e. I fit into the box that I want this to fit into that says, okay, you got folks that are invading, you got folks that are waging war on our country, I can use this. And he's been properly advised by folks around him that if you want to do this, this is the only way you get here. For step one, they have to be characterized as a gang, and these gangs have to be waging war and invading. And in step two, now we can circumvent the deportation process and allow those folks to be removed instantly and going back to the countries that they come from.
And we certainly hear about the war on drugs as opposed to applied that way, but the business aspect of what's going on with the war on drugs here. But this will likely be challenged in court?
100%. You already have 3 senators today sent a letter to the president saying, look, since you have been in office, you've found ways, looked for creative ways to expand the office of the presidency. Anytime you have folks talking about expanding the office of the presidency, you can look for a couple things. First, a letter like they've done, but second, a legal challenge. If we have 3 distinct branches of government, the other branches are supposed to keep them in a check and balance. And if that check and balance seems to be off place, typically the way you get them back in balance is by litigation.
All right, Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes, we're going to leave it there and head up to Washington right now here.